Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, I'm here with my longtime friend, mentor, former business partner, and just all-around good guy, Mr. Ed Forbes, who is the CEO of Stirling Capital. How you doing today, Ed?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I've been looking forward to this for a while, man. It is a lot of fun to have you on here. And for those that have not been as lucky as me to be one of your mentees through these many years that I've been in the receivables management industry, and I will point out that Ed is, you can all blame Ed for my presence here. He is the guy that originally hired me and brought me into the business. But Ed, for those that haven't been as lucky as me to get to know you through the years, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you got to the seat that you're in today?
Absolutely. Thank you, Adam. And I'd just like to point out that it's a pleasure for once for you to interview me, because at a business school, I got to interview a couple times and was smart enough to hire you. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, Adam, I've been in the business for a long time. I started out of college. I was infantry platoon leader. Got out of college. I was applying for government jobs, answered an ad for a bill collector.
Mm-hmm.
So I really started out on the ground floor. I was a bill collector for 3 to 4 years for a small agency in Virginia. Then I moved up to New Jersey and worked for a national collection agency, became a collection manager. So I was on the collection side of it, got to understand that side of the business. I was first hired on the banking side by Advanta Corporation, which eventually became Fleet Credit Card Services. Started out as an agency auditor, which was perfect for me because I was a rascal collector and I knew all the tricks. And the bank was smart enough to hire me to go in and check the agencies to make sure they were doing things right. So I was an agency auditor. When Fleet purchased Advanta, I became the outsource manager. And when they implemented debt sales, I was part of the team that started debt sales originally with Fleet Credit Card Services. I worked there until 2000. In 2000, I was recruited by JP Morgan Chase when they were moving their headquarters from New York down to San Antonio, Texas. I went down there, was recruited to kind of re-engineer their recovery department with an entire team. I was responsible for outsourcing and debt sales. Went through a Six Sigma project, kind of re-engineered the entire thing. 2004, I was recruited to join some business people down here in Florida. We started Credit Max. I was one of the founding members. Credit Max originally, it evolved over the years, but originally it was a debt buyer that developed a proprietary system, or a system that sold debt on the micro level. Obviously, that's where I met you, recruited you for join the sales team, but that didn't last long. You actually became more than that, kind of my right-hand man and my project manager. So Credit Max was unique. I think we disrupted the industry, certainly through our marketing. And in 2008, I left Credit Max. It was a mutual decision for me to leave. I remained an equity holder in the company. I took time off. I'd been working my whole life.
You saw all the baseball parks in the country, Ed. Let's call it what it is. You went on an adventure, a well-deserved adventure.
No, I did. I traveled. I went to Africa. I went to kind of checked off my bucket list. A cousin of mine had retired from the Air Force, and we tried to go to all ballparks. I think we got 22 ballparks in. I lasted about 8 to 9 months, and I started going crazy. I'm like, I got to get back into the business. So I started my own consulting firm, which was Stirling Capital Management. As CMAX was downsizing, I actually recruited the best of the best from CMAX, which included you, included a few other individuals, and we started Stirling Capital Management. Initially, we're a brokerage company. We brokered debt for select clients. We also did, as you know, because you were part of it, we did some consulting for mid-sized banks where we'd come in, kind of do an evaluation, re-engineer their recovery departments, help them with asset sales, things like that. Um, for 10 years, obviously, I think you were with Sterling till what, about 10,
Yeah,
2010,
2010,
11?
2011. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, I actually, the irony is I was always involved with CMAX. When CMAX transformed over to a finance company, the CEO that took over the company recruited me to stay on board there, brought me in to help out with underwriting, with business development. So that's how I got my first taste of specialty
Hmm.
finance. Initially, from a business development perspective, they did initially ask me to do some underwriting. It wasn't my forte, but I got to understand it and appreciate it. Um, in 2019, after a 10-year run, I closed Sterling Capital Management and I joined Seaport Specialty Lending. They were a new specialty finance company. One of my old business partners had started that company, and they brought me on board to focus mainly on business development. And over a 3-year period, I helped them grow their book from about 20 million to under 100 million under assets under management.
Hmm.
So um, I left at the end of 2022, obviously for specific reasons. I ended up taking the majority of 2023 off. Kind of, it was a repeat of 2008. Got back to my bucket list. Started, believe it or not, walked into a jiu-jitsu gym. Got out of my comfort zone, and in my 50s, I was grappling with 20-year-olds.
Hmm.
So I really enjoyed that. But um, I took some time off 2023, so I'm back in the game again. The only difference is it's first time I'm solo. It's not with the team.
Hmm.
So now it's basically Sterling Capital 2.0. It's not Sterling Capital Management, but it's Sterling Capital.
Well, I'm excited to see what you're working on now, Ed, because through a lot of that story, I mean, I came in around the Credit Max portion of that, and obviously we did a lot of different things together through the years, and saved countless houses by helping the banks better understand what they had in terms of their assets during the 2008 crisis, 2009. I mean, like, so many incredible things that I learned through the years, like how to be a consultant, which allowed me to eventually go off and build ComplyArm and do some other things, learning those things from you. But the most important thing that I learned from you through the years was to always do business the right way. And so, even in the
Appreciate that.
wild west that was the debt sales marketplace prior to 2008, you always, every transaction that we ever did, and we did thousands and thousands of transactions, we had, both sides had to win. There was no other way. Everybody had to walk away from every single deal happy, or it just was not going to be acceptable. And you showed me that that is possible, but only if you're willing to put in the work, right? Somebody has to put in the actual work to find that balance. And I think you did an incredible job of instilling that not only in me, but in a lot of people that are now leaders across this industry. So, personally, want to thank you for that opportunity through the years. Now, in Sterling Capital 2.0, things are a little bit different, right? You have all of these different expertise, and now you're kind of building a new organization that allows you to leverage your skill in your relationships without necessarily throwing the entire workload on your back, which personally I think is a perfect location for you in the space, because it allows you to help people with that growth or that exponential jump to the next level. And I think a lot of organizations get stuck at a specific level, and it takes somebody with that type of an attitude and knowledge to help provide some direction to get to the next level. So, in that regard, what are those areas that you're going to concentrate on as you're going into 2024?
Well, I'll tell you about the areas, but one of the things that I'm doing, because I am solo, is I am partnering with some groups that I've done business with in the past
Mhm.
that I know have a high level of integrity. Um, I'm at a point in my career where if I don't trust you and I don't like working with you and I don't have fun, I'm not going to work with you. So,
Fair.
having said that, I have partnered with some key groups that I feel really comfortable with. So I am still doing brokerage.
Mhm.
It's only a part of what I'm doing, but I am partnering with the group. So I'm still focusing on the mid-sized issuers that don't have the expertise, where I could step in and help them set up their internal platforms as it pertains to compliance and legal. Um, but if a group wants to bring a portfolio to the market, I can advise them, and then I have a strategic alliance with a group that has a pretty robust platform. So I'll be involved in the process, but I'll also have a team behind me. So I've just inked that deal. I haven't made it public yet, but I'm really excited about that. I'm also going to leverage my expertise that I've learned over the last 7 years with specialty finance. Um, I recently signed a client that just wants me to handle all their capital raise, and it's not the fact that I'm a financial genius here. I just understand the process. I understand the people. I understand who to go to. I understand the structure. So this particular group's bringing me in to help them identify deal flow, also to take their existing book and their future financial needs and build a deck and shop and find them the right partner. Things are tough now.
It's a
Obviously,
different
rates
world,
are
right?
really high. It's really high, but a lot of groups go out and just do business with the first group that wants to loan them money. And I think it's so important that you're partnered with the right group that understands the business, that's going to support you, support your growth, that is not going to, pick up the phone one day and call you and say, by the way, we lost our financing, so we can't finance your forward flow deals.
You taught me a long time ago that the most valuable money in this business is patient money. And I remember you pointing at an individual we were at the RMI conference. You pointed at him, you said, that guy's going to be here forever. And I said, why? You said, because he's got patient money. He's never in a rush.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the groups that will survive right now, and the ones that have to purchase and will overpay for portfolios regardless to feed the machine, they typically die off. Those that have built a book and have equity and can be patient, they wait. And I think we're in a position now where we're going to start seeing a lot of opportunities. Also, any groups that are out there that have a portfolio that they're looking to exit the business, have the capability of coming in. I have some people, like I said, I'm working on my own, but I have strategic alliances. I have an alliance with one of the best underwriters that I've ever dealt with. So, we can come in and do an evaluation and privately shop their portfolios. I certainly got, over the 7 years, I've got to know the people, behind the specialty finance companies. And these are groups that have an interest in our industry that not a lot of people know about. So, and also, I'm still open to consulting jobs as it pertains to the smaller and mid-sized banks. Larger banks have kind of got it together as it pertains to their processes, but a lot of these fintech companies are coming out, and it reminds me of 20 plus years ago where recovery was an afterthought, where the general counsel would look at me and go, sell to whoever you want. It doesn't matter. Once we sell it, it's not ours. I mean, those days are over. So I think the big banks have made the adjustments. I'm starting to see the fintech companies really, they're still looking at recoveries as an afterthought. Oh, you can sell it to whoever you want. And so obviously today is being driven by compliance, and it's definitely a different world.
Well, it's a very different marketplace than we've seen in the past. And I think from a financing perspective, as the volumes increase and the liquidation rates decrease, which is the expectation, over 2024, if you look at the TransUnion third-party collection Datos report, we did a podcast on that a few weeks ago with Manny Placencia and Mark Naiman talking about what those expectations are for the marketplace in 2024. And with that rise in volume and decrease in liquidation, financing is going to become a bigger and bigger issue. And so those groups that have their financing in place, and even if they are comfortable with the financing, it feels like now is the time to get that in place, or to get your options in place, because the worst time to shop for money is when you need money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the groups that are doing well have had their financing lined up, and they're being patient, and they have patient partners. You have to have partners that are not just stomping their feet saying growth, growth, growth. You have to look, there's times to pause and just say, hey, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And people are not in debt buying just to break even or feed the machine. Those groups, they burn up, they die. Sorry, but I think even with specialty finance companies, which always have, you know, the pressure on them to grow their books, I think a lot of them have financed deals that they shouldn't have. And
It's a margin
I
game,
got
and
a
the
little
margins are too thin to be playing margin games right now.
No, absolutely, and I like to see it. I've seen some groups out there that are saying no to deals,
Mhm.
and that's got to happen. But I'm still, like I said, I'm a couple months into this. I'm going to RMA, meeting with some people. I'm still trying to, I'm at a point where, like I said, I'm going to do business with the people I feel comfortable with. I'm going to be select, and I don't have to take on a lot of clients. So, but I do know that I'm back in the game, and I'm here for a while.
I think that's the perfect place for you, Ed, is being the boutique guy who solves problems, right? It's like Winston
Exactly.
Wolfe coming in Pulp Fiction to solve problems, right? When shit hits the fan, Ed's the guy I call. I think it's a perfect location. I'm looking forward to seeing how things progress and really looking forward to seeing you next week in Las Vegas.
Absolutely, I look forward to it.
For those of you that are watching, if you have any additional questions you'd like to ask Ed or myself, you can leave those in the comments on LinkedIn and YouTube, and we'll be responding to those. If you have additional topics you'd like to see us discuss, you can leave those in the comments below as well. And I'm willing to bet I can get Ed to come back at least one more time to help me continue to create great content for a great industry. But until next week, Ed, I'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adam.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
And
it.
for those of you watching, hope to see you at the RMAI next week. If not, we'll catch you again next week on Receivables Roundtable. Thanks so much, everybody.